Welcome to a new episode of Vipar, a show where we explore the journeys of entrepreneurs and the businesses that they've built. With me this week is Deep Malhotra, who is an entrepreneur, a real estate developer, an author, and also a prospective movie director. Yeah, you heard that right. This guy is doing amazing stuff, and this guy has no limits. I mean, I don't think, there's anything he can't do. And when I first approached Deep for the podcast, he didn't even know me that well, but he sent me his book, which is called Brick Cement and .com. It's basically about Deep's journey as an entrepreneur and the stark realities of starting your own business. And I finished the book today, without giving anything away. The one thing that really stuck with me was the simplicity with which this book was written. So it was very simply explained. All the complex topics that are there were very well explained. Everything about business and about Deep's journey as an entrepreneur. And there are so many things you can learn from this book. Like, if you're walking the path, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just starting out, I think there is an immense value which you can unlock when you read this book. And one simple sentence from the book that really got me thinking was: intuitiveness might be more important than intelligence. Something to ponder over, isn't it? So, Deep, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you. And how are you doing, buddy?
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot for calling me in for the show. I think this is an interesting one, and thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, it made me look really huge, which I am still learning and many things. So it gives me a sense of jack of all trades, master of none, maybe.
Well, you've had an amazing journey, and when we first spoke, you told me how you started your first company, onmac.com, when you were just around what, 18 or 19. And
Yeah.
how did you decide that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Like, was there any particular moment when you knew deep down this is what you wanted to do? Like, you were made to do business.
Uh, it's kind of interesting. There's not a particular moment as such that I would have thought that I want to become like a business guy. But when you come in from a business family, it's there. You're talking about business every day in the family, on the dining table. Generally, even if you're in school, when you're on the dining table, you would be talking about business. But funnily, I never wanted to join in my family business, which was the real estate business. I was totally averse of it, and that's the reason why I started pretty early to diversify or to get into something very different. I was 10 years old, and I started doing computer courses, and I wanted to do something in computers. For me, I started working when I was in college. I think 16 or 17. I started doing my first job as a graphic designer with a company called Hangama.com, and I was their in-house graphic designer. And then I moved into a company called Jasubai Digital Media. I was a part-time designer there too, not for the money,
Hmm.
but only out of the fear that I will have to join the real estate business, and I don't want to do it. So that's the reason. And I always thought that I was a little on the creative side of it. So then I did my first .com. I think at that time the .com 2000 era in India, that was the early days of the .com per se, 1998 to 2000. So I stuck with this idea called onmac.com, which was an online creativity magazine encouraging anyone who could write, who's into photography, and give them a platform. Any
Hmm.
amateur writer can get a platform to display their talent. And we used to tie up with magazines like India Today, Reader Digest, and we used to provide them with writers, and we used to get like a commission. So that was the business model. We used to give photographers to MTV as a freelance photographers per se and all. But I mean, the timing maybe per se wasn't that great, because that's when the .com bubble burst after that, a
Yeah.
year or so. And I could get the fundings from friends and family, and I couldn't sustain it for long. And then I realized that maybe I should step back and
Hmm.
understand doing a business is not that easy, that you launch something and you can go get away with it. You need to learn. So I did my MBA then.
Hmm.
uh, you know that was my journey for my MBA, which was a master's in advertising and communication, more so. And because I was very much on the bent of getting into the advertising world, though I was a commerce graduate, I wanted to do something in advertising. But when I did my internship with Mudra, I realized that, yeah, boss, it's going to take a lot of while to go up the
Hmm.
ladder, and let's stick to digital. And that's when I joined Rediff.com. and Rediff was my journey where I started off. That is the point. Now, coming to the question that when it struck me that I want to be an entrepreneur, I always considered even my job as doing a business. So for me, even if when I was working in a company, I was considering this is like my company, I want to do it. So it was in the blood.
Hmm.
Early days, I think so. When I was very much in school, what the earliest of the memories that I can remember is we used to sell jeans. A couple of my friends during summer vacations, we used to purchase jeans when we were like 10 years old or 11 years old. I don't even remember that. And we used to do exhibition of jeans and we used to sell it. So I think that was the early point when you realize that, wow, this is
Hmm.
business, like 100 rupees dalo and you can get 200 rupees and there's no limit to it. So that is where it stuck me that maybe yes, business is something, but I was never like just want to do business, but do a combination of stuff. That's where my journey started
Hmm.
in digital with Rediff, Google, Fox, MySpace.com, all of that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean that early sale that you must have made when you were 10 would have felt so good, right? Like just, it doesn't matter, the money doesn't matter, but it's just the act of doing something, like just creating something of your own that is so pleasing, I feel.
It is because I remember that was early days, maybe it was 10 or 11, I don't know how old we were, but we used to do this at that time. There was this craze back in 1990s of wearing jeans or Levi's and Lee jeans and all, and we used to get it from one of the wholesaler, and two of my other friends, my childhood friends, we used to do these exhibitions of selling jeans below my we had a garage, and there is where we had to do it. And I remember once we did an exhibition, and one of the guys who were trying out the jean, he actually broke a glass table, and our entire the money that we were going to earn, it just got cut by like
Oh
50%.
shit, man.
And then we realized that yeah, that's how it is difficult to do business, and that is an early lesson that you can get out of it. From there to when I was running on mag, also many interesting stories around that.
And how did you find your way into Google? Like I was reading your book and you told me you were one of the founding persons of Google India's marketing
Right.
team. So how
So
did you?
no, in back in 2005, there was no Google India entity per se. So there was a Google Inc. office in Hyderabad and Bangalore. There was a R&D office. So we were selected. A bunch of us would be who were like the first guys who set up the Google India founding team.
Wow.
And we were I was part of the DSO, which is the direct sales team, which is responsible for the topmost clients, for the company. At that time, no one knew what Google could do, like what is Google advertising and all. So we used to meet up with the top level guys, educate them on Google AdWords. So how I got into it, I mean, because of my experience in .com, I guess early in 2000, I was very much with it. I knew what I wanted to do. I had designed the entire website. I had run a business in .com and then Rediff.com. So in sales. So the combination of that was fairly rare at that time because
Yeah.
no one knew much about online advertising per se. So I guess that is where the match happened, and I got picked up. When you have to, one thing about Google is that if you want to actually get into Google, you need to have a lot of patience. So you have like 15 or 16 to 17 interviews that you have to go through. So
Seriously.
yeah, that's what I mean, and it's good. It's awesome. It's an awesome
Wow,
experience. So,
man.
and that time they didn't have an India team, so you used to have these calls at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. You just got into it, and that's when
Mhm.
we join in. That was great opportunity. There's great opportunity, great luck,
Because you get to
because
work with the cream, right? I mean, when you are in Google, and that, I think that was just the beginning of the digital era, like 2000, 2001. It was just beginning, and you get to
yeah.
work with the clients, like you get to work with the biggest in the industry. So that must have been some sort of an experience.
Totally, but the funny thing is that yes, you get a great of exposure because of the fact that it was not a Google that like outsiders would know. It'll be like a big company, and you have a lot of these things that you can do. You have amenities that you can take care of. Nothing like that happened. We were working out of a business center in Kalina, and we were like seven of us in a room which was maybe around 200 square feet odd, and we used to work out of a business center there
Shit.
because it was a startup. So I think so the opportunity was more so because Google that time was a startup in India.
Hmm.
So the exposure that we had, we could meet up with, the biggest of the clients, represent the company, explain them the concept. That versus maybe now it's become too big,
It's
and
too big.
that's
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. I was responsible also. Was in part of the recruitment team wherein we actually hired a lot of the early sales guys there. I did a lot of these
Mm.
campus recruitment drives and all kind of stuff. So, that entire exposure, I really doubt when it becomes really big, is it possible to get it or not? So that versus that was a great opportunity, great timing getting in there. And that changed a lot of things, that changed a lot of things in the industry, worked quite well for me to also,
Mm.
make myself at a position in the industry that, okay, fine, I come from a founding team. So there's certain kind of a thing at a very early age, which was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And okay, so this is like a switch for you. You were working for Google at one point of time, and then you got into real estate. So, how does it feel like going from being one of the top founding guys of Google India's marketing business to then pivoting to real estate? How challenging was it for you to make that switch?
यार वो बोलते हैं ना यार जो चीज से भागते हो वही चीज करनी पड़ती है so for me I mean that the first decade I think so from maybe 1999 or 2000 to 2010 because after Google I joined in myspace.com in the founding team. So then 3 years after in Google it started becoming really big and we thought I wanted another challenge. So like I said very early that I was very much interested in working in an environment which was more like I'm doing my own business. So when that happened, started getting a little less chaotic because I love chaos. So for me, I thought I want another challenge. And MySpace that time was setting up in India. The Fox Interactive was doing the MySpace launch. So
Hmm.
that is when I joined in as a senior director there. Did the launch for India, Southeast Asia, and it was great. And then I think so there was a wake up call because my dad had a stroke in 2009. He was doing the real estate business. I never wanted to do it.
Hmm.
But in real estate, the issue is that once generation starts it, the other generation has to take it to the next level, or you have to just wind up by cutting down your losses. So I
Hmm.
thought very naively in 2010, after 2010, I thought I'll take a sabbatical in 2011. And
Hmm.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to just like 6 months may finish off 2 projects which were on, and somewhere down the line get back to where I'm good at, or what I have passion for, which is
Hmm.
digital and media. And I realized that like 6 months in 2011 is when I thought, and now where we are in 2020. So I know there's no way out. So
Yeah.
I then got it. So that was the journey that made me join. And being the only son, I had to take over certain responsibilities. I could have gone to the US, start afresh there. I had an opportunity there, but I didn't want to be penny wise, pound foolish. So like I earlier said that if you're from a business family, then business runs in your blood. So for
Hmm.
you, you won't be like, boss, I'm not going to cut my losses, because when I was going to couple of developers at that time trying to sell my project, they were just giving me penny change for that. And they were big guys, and they were just offering
Hmm.
us like really peanuts. And there's a lot of hard work put in to acquire those projects. So I thought, doesn't make sense. Let's
Obviously.
do
Yeah.
it on your own. And that's where the book starts, actually. If you read the introduction of my book, it starts with on the negotiation table with one of the, I've not named anyone, but it's one of the biggest developers in our city, what he was offering me. And when I walked out from that meeting, one of the very senior executive in that meeting told me that if you want to make money, son, go ahead and do it on your own, because no one is going to
Wow.
offer you the money that you're thinking that you deserve. So that stuck on to me, and I thought, yeah, maybe let me try this out.
And then you started, like, when you came to the real estate world, you did not stop. Like, you started a company called Gemini New Ventures. So
That's exactly.
tell us something about that. Like, what does it do? What do you do with that?
you know One thing about me is that I don't give up easy. I'm very
We,
persistent.
we know
So
that.
I thought, yeah, boss, I said, boss, यार real estate से छोड़ नहीं पाऊंगा तो, लेकिन मैं media से अपना पैर नहीं छोड़ूंगा. So that's when I started Gemini New Media Ventures. That company was initially started off in 2011-12. The idea behind that was, at that early time, it was all about, getting this new talent and the incubation of startups.
Hmm.
So we started that off out of my office was below my bungalow, and we started, and we were shifting out of that place, and we were going into a different office. So I made that entire bungalow into an incubation center, and we tied up with a lot of these institutes in engineering institutes, and we tried to get these talents on board, and we used to give them 3 months to 6 months and give them an incubation mentorship,
Wow.
help them grow their business and get the funding. And that was a great journey, and that's when I got married to in 2011. So me and my wife, we started that off. She comes in from experience in corporate in Airtel and Hindustan Lever, and we thought, let's start and do something like this.
What
Yeah,
a way to start a marriage, isn't it?
totally. Totally. That was the whole idea. I mean, the thing was that if we're getting married, we should start something. And real estate was something that I had to do. So I thought maybe I'll exit out of it soon. But in the meantime, let's start this so that, once I'm out, then somewhere down the line, the media business, we can just take it over and expand. So that was the thought process behind it, that simultaneously build businesses. And that's when Gemini New Media started. From incubation, we actually pivoted that. I've pivoted a lot of my businesses.
Mhm.
So we started as an incubation, but then we realized very quickly that incubation as an idea, it can be, I'm not saying it's flawed, but somewhere down the line, you can't build a business in 3 months or
Not
6 months.
scalable. It's
It's not.
probably
And it's not a recipe book, and a lot of people are doing it. Maybe I'm wrong, actually. I'm no one to say that it's, but my experience has been that it's not a recipe book, that this is a business which I'm building, a pharma business, and I can change it to a logistics business. It can't be done that way. Every businesses are different. So then we thought that rather than doing incubation per se, we are going to convert, because then we shifted into our office and we converted an entire space for co-working. And we started getting startups, early businesses, SMEs who would want like a 1 seat, 2 seats, and we help them give a real estate solution, let them not worry about the infrastructure. We give them everything, and we charge on a per seat basis. And that was fairly early in 2013-14, and that time the co-working funda wasn't there,
yeah. I mean, WeWork has recently emerged as a co-working space, but you guys came up with an idea far before that. I mean, that's amazing.
So that, for that, we'll have to rewind a little bit. When we set our Google operations in India, when we were working out of the business center that time, I was paying a huge amount of money for that 200 square feet place. And that was like some 4 lakh rupees or something like that, because we were paying dollar rates that time, because it was a business center. And that was the only business center which was there that time. So, and they had a global deal. So that's when I realized coming in, it's a combination. I come from a real estate business, but I'm doing tech. So that made me think, yeah, boss, this is great opportunity. Like,
Hmm.
if any international company who's coming to India for such a small place, they have to pay such a high price. That means that's a great opportunity. So from, I would say, 2005, I thought, let's replicate that entire thing and build it out as a co-working space per se. Because business center was like, it was a very rigid format. Business center is like, you have to do a commitment of this
Yeah.
much period of time. These many seats should be committed. All of that. Co-working is basically pay as you go. It's a 1 month notice that
Hmm.
you can give. So startups and early businesses want something like that. So that is where we got onto. And currently we have like 300 seats, and we're adding another 300 seats in the next, I think, so 12 months or so. So it's gone in great. I mean, that business has taken off over a period of time after pivoting it into a couple of things. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, man. I mean, really, I wish you all the best for that business. And it's not the only business that you're into. And it's funny, actually, I found out about you from one of the Instagram posts, which talks about your startup, Beck Friends, right?
That's
And
right.
I was blown away by the idea. I mean, using unused bag space of people who are traveling between cities. How did you even how did you come up with the idea? Like, that is amazing, I think,
So yeah, that again, what I've realized in my journey is that everything that you start, even if it doesn't work out, like, it's not necessary that it's not gonna help you out in some way or the other at a later stage. So when we started Gemini New Media Ventures as an incubation, we were tying up with institutes, and I realized that incubation doesn't work. Maybe we thought, let's try to get our hands dirty. So that's when we thought the only way this can work as an impactful business, if I want to create something, I have to get my hands dirty. So I have to become a co-founder in the company that we invest or incubate. So we got in, there were two guys from Bits Pilani who were working with us, and we got in together. And that time there was a lot of this, thing about intra-city deliveries, so there was a model wherein in Bombay specifically, say if you want to send something from one place to the other in the city, it takes a lot of time as a same day delivery or a couple of hours delivery. It was quite a difficult task to do. Say for an example, you want to send something, or you have say forgotten your charger at home, and now you want that charger back in office. What are you going to do? So for that, we thought there's a great idea. Let's have these riders who's going to run around in the city. That was somewhere in 2016-17. We thought of this thing. We thought, let's do something like that, that if you want to get anything delivered, we're going to do that for you. And we had this tie-up with courier guys. In the part-time, they used to do those delivery for us, and we had also on our rolls a lot of these riders. So we did a lot of deliveries, and then we realized, then again the pivot happened, and we realized, yeah, boss, there's a lot of money. It's a money guzzling business, because if you look at the Swiggies and the Zomatos and all kind of stuff, the delivery guys, and to maintain that entire thing, that's a money guzzling business. So we thought, how do we pivot this? How do we make a business which is not so high on operations cost? And we thought, what if we make everyone a delivery guy? What if you're traveling from one place to the other, specifically international, and if you can let go of your luggage? So for an example, you're going from Mumbai to London, you have 30 kgs of luggage that you can carry, but you are just carrying 10. Now these 20 kgs is going for waste. What if you can monetize that? And if you can monetize that, either you do it by giving that particular thing to us, or we had this particular thing wherein you can do it through a tie-up through an airline. And there are merchants who are buying that space, because international delivery, it's a very high cost delivery in logistics. So we thought this is where the idea sits. And we actually pivoted that entire thing into something very different. And we made it into a traveler delivery network. And that's a reason, from a very high operations cost, we brought down to a very tech-led business. And to very simply put, it's an Airbnb for your luggage. You're basically selling space of your luggage, and you're getting money out of it. So there is where we're sitting at, and it's done phenomenally well. We have done like around 45,000 odd deliveries. Of course, the international travel is hit now due to the COVID. But what we have done is, in this time of 6 months, along with writing my book, I could finish the book during the lockdown. We have built the product into a very robust thing, and we are actually going to launch it now as a very different thing, which is also on the B2B side. So that has helped us. We are doing tie-ups with a lot of these airlines and all now. And once things get back to normal, we're just raring to go. So because that's where the business.
I feel that it's a win-win for all the parties. I mean, you get your space. The airlines do not miss out on the customer can sell his free luggage. He can monetize that. And I think even the airlines are, happy about it. Like they can get more customers on board. So I think you've strike the perfect balance. It's a win-win situation for everyone.
So that is something, I guess that's what we are now, basically betting on, because once the international travel is going to open up, it's not going to be cheap, because there are a lot of factors along with that. There are a lot of costs that they have to cover. So something like this is what is going to help travelers to travel cheap, and also take care of for merchants on the logistics costs. So I think so. Maybe it's a 6 months of an issue that we face, but somewhere down the line, there's great opportunity waiting now once things open up.
And you touched upon briefly about your book, and you wrote a book in the COVID situation. So whenever there is a crisis, you make complete use of it. Like I feel that you thrive on chaos.
I've written that somewhere in the book too, I guess.
Yes.
That chaos is something that I thrive on. Totally, yes.
So tell us something about, how did you get the inspiration to write the book, and, what motivated you to, just pen down your thoughts into a book? How did you start writing, and how did you, what was the process? Like, did you face any writer's block? What was the process like?
So interestingly, if you remember early in the chat, I did mention that I consider myself, and I always used to write a lot. So I'm more of a creative bent of a mind guy. I like to write and stuff and short movies and all that you mentioned. So it's there in me. For me, writing is something that when, it's more of my passion. If you talk about writing movies, that's my passion. That is something that I love doing, that I don't consider that as, I have to do very tediously. So yeah, it sounds really insane that I could finish it off in like a 3-month period, but all these thoughts, all these thought process that I had was very much there, and written a couple of articles for Ways magazines and websites like Your Story and all. So that thought process was there. It was all about building it into like a story with my combination of my story and the learnings that I've learned. And I'm a very structured person when I write. So if you've read the book, you would realize that I've written very point wise.
Yes.
And I've started off with a story, which would be an example like I would have faced or something like that. And then I've got into this learning around it. So that is how I also think. And that is how I've learned from those things. So I can say 100% of the things that I've written there is it's totally true. Though I've not taken any names or anything there, but it's actually happened. The process, how I got to it is because, initially, if you remember in March when the lockdown happened, everyone was like, it's going to be for like 10, 15 days. And me being a very restless guy, I thought, chalo, ho jayega, ek aur hafta, 2 hafta. And then I realized not going to happen. So I need something to do. And I always wanted to write a book. And I thought this is a great opportunity. It's chaos right now. If I don't put my energies to something, I might just go insane. And that's when I started writing. I guess 7-8 hours a day, maybe at times, I've spent on the computer writing. There has been writer's block more out of, if you give me a piece of paper, I can just fill it up. Maybe most of the commerce students can do that. Being a commerce student, I know I've passed my BCom. Most of the guys know how they would pass their, this thing, but I can do that. But, at times I used to just slow down and say, okay, whatever I'm writing, is it making sense? Because frankly, one secret that I should put out is I don't read that many books. So I don't know how, and I don't read much of self-help books. And also I don't know what is a typical structure. What is how a particular guy writes? Is this a norm? So if you look at the structure that I've written, I think so it's fairly unique. So I was a little worried that maybe people are just going to say that whatever he's written isn't making sense or not. So there is where I actually used to take that pause. I used to ask my wife to go through it and say that whatever she reads a lot, that whatever I'm writing isn't making sense or not. Am I making a fool of myself? So that is where I actually took a conscious maybe a day or 2 day breaks at times and said that let's just sit back, not write today. Let's not spend those 5-6 hours in front of the computer and write. Let's not write for a day or two. And I guess that's how the journey has been. So and it's given me a lot of the reviews have been great. I didn't expect it. Actually, I didn't expect it to be trending in the top 5, top 3 books in the category on a regular basis. I thought it's just going to be like something which is there, and but people are loving it. I'm getting awesome reviews, and I'm really gung-ho now to एक होता है ना, एक बार लिख लेते हो तो लगता है अच्छा यार ये चल जाता है, अब तुम लिख सकते हो. So this was like more of validation that I can write. So I would
How
be
does it
raring
feel?
to go.
How does it feel though? Like when you get all those reviews, how amazing the book is, because the book is amazing. Even I have read the book and I really like the way you've put it out. Even I don't read a lot of self-help books or, business books, but the way you have explained every single thing, it is unique. And, I fell in love with the book. Like it grew on me. So how do you
as in when you're saying it, I'm getting goosebumps about it. Whatever you just said, because that's how I feel, because I have written it and I have not kept any kind of a curtain in front of it. I've just been very transparent. And when people give me that review, in fact, I just like when they say all of that, I said, "Yeah, acha to tha, bura kya tha bata yaar mujhe." I want to know that. I just don't. I've many a times got into a discussion with a couple of my friends. Have read it, and I said, like, just tell me, did I make sense? Do you think this was wrong? Maybe I should write it. So I thrive again on critical feedback too. So for me, it's very important to also know that. But all in all, like 95% of the time, I've just got the kind of feedback that you're giving me about the fact that it's real. It's something that you can relate to. It's transparent. You've learned. Some people have said that when you're reading it, they can picturize themselves in it.
Yeah.
So that is great. That gives you a lot of confidence. And when you're not an author, you're not a writer per se. I mean, I would love to believe, I mean, I would want to retire. Once I retire, get into all of that. But when you're not, when you're like a real estate developer with a combination of entrepreneur, and you say that you've written a book, then it becomes too much to also digest at times. Like when you give that introduction, most of the people will be like, यार ये इतना सब नहीं होता है, you know, वो reality नहीं है, ये थोड़ा फेंक रहा है. But frankly, the book has been something which anyone who has read has understood where I come from. That why I have done so many things. It is not by it's just happened by design. It just happened by destiny that I've got into multiple things and got into that experience, and that is what has helped me to get to this point and that thought process.
Wow,
So
man.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so one more thing I want to cover is that when I first spoke to you, right, you told me that apart from the business, you also direct movies, and you've actually created several short movies. And I mean, is there anything that you can't do?
So, sub poll mat khol. I'll tell you. So, like I said, when I'll tell you, I take back to when I was like 10, 11, I started doing computer courses, and I thought I was from a creative bent of mine. So I started doing graphic design courses. वो time पे ना आपके Photoshop and 3D Max, Corel Draw, ये सब, all the courses that I used to do. So I was never good at sports. I never used to get into playing cricket and all, but I used to, in my summer vacation, any time that you would say any of my school time, I've done some course or the other during that 3 months or 2 months that you get. So I was very well equipped with, design aspects, editing aspects while I just joined in college. तो तब मैंने फिर बोला यार ये तो चलो मैंने कोर्सेज में पैसे खर्चे किए हैं, अब एक काम करते हैं, let's do a job. So I started doing a job. So that's when I got into Hungama and all. And somewhere in the 2000, when I was doing this platform for creative talent, I used to write short movie scripts too, because I used to like writing. And when I was in school also, I used to write these, very vague तरीके से posters बनाते थे with my friends, and used to write this movie scripts and all. And I started writing a movie script, and me and my brother-in-law. So the story is that my brother-in-law was doing a computer course that time, and that's when he met my sister, and that's when their story started. And he and I have been close and connected on most of the things related to movie making. And he wanted to get into. He was an he was a software engineer, and he quit his job and he wanted to get into movies. So we said, yeah, boss, let's make a movie. So I had this movie idea and I wrote a script, and we said, let's make it. And we just went ahead and made it. And I was like, I think so in 2000 or 2001, Shekhar Kapoor had started a short movie platform or something that time. That was fairly new. And he said that we'll do something like that wherein you can, submit your movie online. That was way back in 2000 or 2001. So we made a movie for that. We were not technically brilliant. The script was there. We made like a 20-minute movie, and we're not proud of the technicalities of it. But yeah, that's how we started. We just jumped into it. We made a movie, then we made another one. We co-directed it. I had written the script, and 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees के बजट में बन जाती थी वो टाइम. कैमरा था मेरे पास, तो वैसे में बना लेते थे 15-20 मिनट की. But of course we acted in it, we edited it, we did everything, and wo tha कीड़ा starting se. And when I was in my MBA also, I had made a short movie. Actually, it won a second runner-up in a film competition that time. I was doing my MBA, and wow. I did my MBA from Symbiosis, and next to it there was SIMC. I think so. It was a Mass Communication Institute, and they had a film festival wherein you could make a movie. And I submitted a movie in which I basically I shot it, I edited it. It's a movie from a perspective of a guy. So that entire movie I shot it in a day, and we edited, and I submitted it, and it got like second runner-up. The first two guys were from film institutes. So that gave me a lot of confidence. But वो business family से था ना, मैं बोला यार इसमें struggle लगेगा, पहले ना पैसे कमा लेते हैं, फिर बनाएंगे movie. So मैं रुक गया फिर. So I thought कि यार I'll start writing and I'll get to it once I am at a situation wherein I wouldn't do it for money. I'll do it for my passion. And that's what the book also says, like, a lone passion you can't do everything. Passion
Yeah.
isn't everything. It's a combination of passion with persistence. So I live by those rules. So I guess that's a reason why I've also tweaked my journeys around that. Yeah.
Okay. So, my last question to you is I know that you're a very big Christopher Nolan fan. And when we had the first conversation, we really clicked when I touched that subject. Like, what's your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? So what is your favorite movie? Like, I already know it, but for the people who are listening, what's your favorite movie?
So that is again in 2000. Actually, when I saw his first movie, I was totally amazed, and that is what changed my thinking that I can go ahead and make movies. It was Memento, and that movie changed my life because when I saw that movie, he was not a big name. It was in 2000. He was no one actually, and he made this movie out of a very short budget. And prior to that, he had made a movie called Following, which I saw after Memento. I think so after 2 or 3 movies of his, I saw Following then because I didn't get the DVD for that. And he made that movie Following in I think so £3,000 or something, and that actually changed my thinking towards movies because I knew he had made a movie with £3,000 budget, and I saw Memento, which was like his full release and all that kind of stuff. And I said, it is possible. And his, ek hota hai na, when you see something and it actually just connects with you. So
Yeah.
his language for movie, his way, his technique, and you know how Memento is. It starts from the end and it goes to the start. And 15, 20 minutes in the movie, you won't even understand what's happening. And the reason why he did that was because he wanted the viewers to make go through what the protagonist was going through. So
Yeah.
it was basically because he's going through that short-term memory loss, and when you're watching that movie, you're confused for 15-20 minutes, and then you realize what's happening, and that totally blew me off. And I thought, and that's the reason when I said that movie that I made, it's called Identity. It actually is, it's totally different, but when you see that movie, it's going to take you, it's a 10-minute movie, it'll take you 2-3 minutes to understand what's happening.
I mean, if it's possible,
Yeah, I'll say.
I would like to see that movie.
I'll send you. It's about this guy who's lost his memory and he wakes up in the middle of the road, and you can just hear him whatever he's thinking, and that's what the movie is all about. It's a 10-minute movie, and you can see whatever he's seeing, and that's what. And frankly, I mean, I just made a short movie. I think so. Last weekend there was a India Film Project competition for a 50-hour movie competition. So I just had time. So on a mobile category, I just kind of registered myself and I made a 4-minute movie. I'll send you a link for that also.
Wow.
It's called A Stop for Nothing. And if you see my typical movies that I made or whatever, I wouldn't call it. Sounds really weird when I say you see my movie. Whenever I see whatever I've made, I'm not very proud of the technical part of it, but whatever I've made, it has a hint of Nolan in it. For me, it is not just a movie. If I watch a Nolan movie, it is not just a movie. It is for me that 2 hours that I would be sitting, or maybe 2.5 hours if it is a longer length movie, I'm totally glued to it, and I'm watching it, I'm understanding it, I am researching on it and everything. So for me, it's you can say at every point, that's one level of milestone for me. Whenever he makes a movie, for me, it's a very different thing. It is a very different experience for me. So it's a big impact.
I mean, we should do a podcast on that. I mean, that is such a big topic that probably we should do another podcast.
I think once we watch Tenet, I think so. We should go ahead and do this. I'm just waiting for that. The biggest, I think so, disappointment of the lockdown is that I can't watch that movie in the theater. Baki sab chal raha hai mujhe. Baki, I'm okay with staying at home. I'm okay with giving a lot of time that I want to do of my own stuff. Now, of course, I've started going out every day and finishing off my work. But that initial phase, I was not regretting anything. जिस दिन मालूम पड़ा कि मूवी यार थिएटर में रिलीज अब नहीं होगी या टाइम लगेगा, तब इट वाज तब जाके वो हिट हुआ, loneliness and depression, क्योंकि मैं नोलन की मूवी थिएटर में नहीं देख पाऊंगा. So that is the thing.
It is the most disappointing thing for me also. I'm just waiting for it to come out. So,
which is your favorite? My
favorite is The Dark Knight Rises, because it is the perfect ending to the trilogy. I mean, I have not seen a movie with a better ending than The Dark Knight Rises. It just brings out everything in me. Like whenever I'm feeling down or whenever I need that little bit of push, right, to do something,
Totally.
I just watch that movie, and then everything falls into place. So I agree with you,
Yeah,
man. I mean, it's not a movie, it is an experience, and it is a journey. Like it helps you
exactly.
to do stuff. So
Yeah,
amazing.
and that is passion. I mean, when you talk about it, the way he's made his movies and all, that's the kind of passion and persistence and the combination that you need to make those movies. And unless you can't do that, you have many other things, and you shouldn't get into it. So for me, when I look at my journey, when I want to finish off, there are a few things going on, and want to finish off my real estate project and my life in real estate per se, and get into the
Mm.
tech and investment side of it. For me, how I see myself retiring is writing scripts and making movies, not thinking about that, is it good? Who's going to buy it? Is it going to be working or not? It should be something that I believe in. And that's the reason I just paused it for 2 decades. I always
Mm.
wanted to get into movies. I always wanted to make it. The whole purpose was that I wanted to do it at my own terms.
Yeah.
And I think that is where you should understand that. And did you see Following? I'd send you a link of that, right?
I I will check it out. I did not watch the entire movie, but because work came up. So, but I
And you
will
made
definitely.
it in 3,000 pounds. Yeah, I mean, uh, that's crazy. That kind of a thing, and that gives you really a good inspiration that you don't need money for making
Money.
those movies.
Yeah.
You just need the vision, and you just need what you want to do. Be very persistent with it, and like we were
Mm.
discussing about it, he doesn't use special effects. He
Oh yeah.
does the actual scene, and for that you need the guts, to do it. So
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, I'm totally off it. Yeah, we can do like a 2-part series on that. We can go on.
Oh yeah, I would love that. I would definitely love to do something with you apart from just Vyapar and Bazaar. And
Yeah.
all the movie directors who are listening to this show, I don't think anyone is anyone listening to this is a movie director. But if you are a movie director and if you're listening to this, buddy, you got competition. Okay, in the next
You
three.
haven't seen my movies yet, so don't say it. So
I'm ready.
once you see it, बोलेगा यार ये क्या है? So let me tell you a couple of those links, and then you say it. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
I'm willing
I'm
to bet. I'm willing to
yeah,
bet on you. I'm willing to put my
that,
money on you. So
okay, that gives me a lot of
so
confidence. Be kind of you for
so
that.
so Deep, it was a pleasure having you on the show, buddy. I wish you all the best for everything that you do. I had a blast. It did not feel like I was recording a show. It felt like I was talking to an old friend, and it's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing talking to you.
same here. Yeah, it's been great talking to you. It's a great discussion, I guess. Of course, I mean, in the book there are a lot of stuff that you can talk about, but when you're talking to the person, you can actually very candid and talk about it. And it's been great discussing it out with you. Just felt like two friends talking
Yeah.
without cuss words. So that's good.
Yeah, we'll do that sometime else. Like for that,
True. Yeah,
we'll get
once
on a
it
call.
opens up, let's catch up and let's catch up and celebrate our freedom.
I would love that. All
Right.
right, guys, that does it for today's edition of Vyapar. If you want to get a piece of Deep's new book, Brick, Cement, and .com, I will keep the links in the description. Please check it out. Like, if I'm not kidding, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're just someone who wants to do a business, this will really gear you up. And the way he has explained stuff, I keep on repeating myself, but simplicity is really, he has kept it very simple, and I'm sure that you'll like it. So just check it out. I'll keep the links in the description, and let us know what you think of the show. We do this to make it a very good listening experience for you guys. So you can reach out to us at vyaparpodcast@gmail.com. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you, man. Take care.